everybody in the group. The
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another page of Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. I am your host, Ankh Rising Sun, truly known as Uncle Hanky, and I'm proud and honored to have our featured guest on another page of Words. I am Words of Power, featuring Lalji, Selassie. So, as always, those of you who are in the chat, in the comments, let us know what part of the world you are listening in from as we progress through today's broadcast. In addition, please feel comfortable donating, contributing, assisting as you read the ticker tape for this show. So, without further ado, let us begin with the opening videos featuring our brother Baraka.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
those who I didn't tell, we're looking for 16 people to join for the Alliance Sacred Coaching, which of course includes the UCC. And I'm learning when we're not doing this, we're trying our best to work on the UCC. And a friend of mine just sent his information in Saturday to the post office, and he's looking for his package to come in, and so I'll announce it again at the end of the reading. That
Hi, if anybody wants to on the StreamYard YouTube link with with Hank and Lalji, the link is in the message. It's in the chat below. Check your chats. The link is there. No, that's if you want to be on camera. It works better with Zoom. It doesn't work so well with Safari. If you have.
You mean it works better with Chrome?
Yeah, it works. Yeah, isn't that what I said?
You said Zoom.
Sorry, it works better with Chrome. Lalji, you're live.
I'm live. Great. Okay.
That's what Hank just told me. Say I'm reading now.
All right. I didn't know we was live. All right. Admit one. Okay. Someone else is coming on or wants to come on. All right.
So JD, do we need to switch?
Yes.
You need to switch.
Yes.
You need to do whatever you need to do to get into it.
Yes. So I appreciate y'all to come on with me to on the Zoom. Makes me feel like I'm dealing with my family.
After you're live.
Brother, you are live with a family of 34 and climbing. So let us begin. You are front stage and live. You have an audience. Now, if you have shy folks in the Zoom, just let them sit there. But let the show begin, brother.
Okay, my brother.
And I thank you for everyone who's been posting where you're listening from throughout the world.
Okay.
Oh, you got the mic, brother.
All right. Okay, I can hear y'all, JD. All right. The invocation. We're on chapter. Oh, we're on chapter 25 because we did, or are we on chapter 24? Chapter 24. I'm not sure. I thought we was on chapter. All right, so I'm gonna go for 24. If I realize that I'm on chapter 25, I'm gonna go to 25. Did we do chapter 24 last week, y'all? I think we did. Anyway, I'm gonna give invocation. Thou infinite, all-loving presence, we feel thy peace, thy love, and thy wisdom pervading all everywhere, knowing there is but one mighty presence of which we are a part. That's a lot of noise.
Sorry.
We know thou art omnipresent, pouring thyself forth, filling every need on demand, lifting the consciousness of mankind unto thee, and holding it an anchor there until the light of eternal life fills all beings with its radiance, carrying them forward with the inner impulse to eternal permanent recognition of the great I am. I bring you greetings from the great ascended host, and especially from Nada, Cha'ara, Chan, and Diana, goddess of fire. As the consciousness of the student is raised into activity of the higher or fire element, everything in their being begins to act with an intensity that many times they do not understand. And as they begin to work more from the fire element standpoint, the more necessary it is to keep up the guard. The training which we are endeavoring to give forth to bless, protect, and enlighten the student is to train oneself to be on guard at all times. And while all should understand and with every effort use the I am presence to maintain self-control, yet if something happens unexpectedly, to stand serene in spite of it. Use the statement frequently, I am the presence on guard. If something unexpected happens, say, we will dismiss this and go on in the joyous happiness. Try not to have any feelings, but to know I am the mighty presence governing everyone's activity. Whenever there is a center of light of the intensity of this focus, there is always a disturbing element that would seek to enter through someone. If you are working about the house, keep saying, I am the proof against any sudden disturbance. Then set up a certain armor that will keep the atmosphere harmonized. Use often, I am the presence which nothing can disturb. Always hold yourself in a joyous, calm attitude, regardless of anything that takes place. For one you wish to help and say, hey, pal, through the I am presence, we give you the strength to control that. The very marvelous manner and radiation of your 2 classes this week was the most remarkable thing I have ever seen in a class of students. The great love and harmony within the hearts of these students maintained a sufficient length of time, make almost anything possible. It is a rare thing. Here are 3 classes in which the same love and harmony is maintained. Do you feel the great wave of peace and joy that came like a breath of a spring morning? I will explain so you may see how far-reaching is this wonderful loving care. He's talking about classes that happened in 1932. In December of 1932. The great master whom Jesus contacted and who enabled him to gain the victory is the same one who was my teacher. In other words, the great Sanat Kumara. And the great Sanat Kumara comes from Venus. He's millions of years old and extremely close to God. In fact, he's one of the 12 people who are close to God in the entire universe. So that teacher is the same teacher for Saint Germain. And I had a revelation, or let me say, an inkling that teacher is Sananda, which is another name for Jesus, which is also a name of one of the 4 Kumaras, because the Kumaras are 4, and Sananda is one of the names of the 4 Kumaras. The great master whom contracted and who enabled him to gain the victory is the same one who was my teacher, and it was my radiation which came just now, and it was his radiation which came just now. He wishes me to tell you that as you pass through the pathway of life, you will find the easiest way to overcome disturbance is to turn away from a thing and forget it. You may have this master's name later. Uh-oh, I think I gave out a secret. The wrong wrong activities say, that is not correct, and then quickly pass it off. This avoids the disturbance which builds. I had a feeling, not a feeling, a revelation yesterday, still feeling things that I feel people have done to me and so forth and so on. What I did not realize, or I knew it, but it's again not using knowledge that you have, not using tools that you have. And I was listening to this guy, he's on YouTube all the time. I don't remember his name, but he said this, and I want all of us to think about this. There's so many people who have done us wrong, and equally, there's so many people that we've done wrong. We don't even know we did wrong, but we did. And I had not taken into consideration that all of these negative thoughts I have about others, we have about others, that exists in our mind. What we're looking for is happiness. We're looking for love. We're looking for prosperity. We're looking for peace. We're looking for all these things, right? All the goodness of life. But our thoughts that we're putting before us that lands in the future, they go straight to the future. They disrupt all the goodness that we want. They disrupt our prosperity. They add fear to our prosperity. Divine things will come to us. We'll be afraid to accept. Money that's on its way we block happiness, friendship, and all of that. And friendship is so valuable, y'all. We've been blocking them with our own thoughts. And it occurred to me, and I was trying to tell my wife this, we're blocking our future through argumentation, through lack of harmony, through this, that, and the other, all the things that we know we always do. We're blocking our goodness from coming to us because of our negative thoughts that we feel. And I'm saying that we feel these thoughts are righteous. We feel like, oh, I deserve these thoughts. I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. But yet our thoughts and our feelings are blocking us from our own good. This is what this passage reminds me of that we just read. As we reach into the light, we are one great family, knowing that there is but one great I am presence everywhere, you being the individualization of that. There can only be the one great family, children of the one God. In the first place, let this be understood. If a worthy individual is critical, say with very definite certainty, there is no one who wishes to intrude this. Let me read that again. If a worthy individual is critical, say with very definite certainty, there is no one who wishes to intrude this upon your free will. We do not mind sincere questioning, but we do not tolerate criticism nor argument. The messenger must refuse acceptance to the discordant thing. My pouring out the love element, so the discordant may be consumed. The messenger must be fortified, or else the work is left half done. No class or work of the messenger can be sustained if the messenger allows arguments or discordant feelings to generate. That backs up what I just said. Although I didn't realize, I'm looking at my own self in this regard, because right now I'm the messenger. And I think that we all, as we read these things, that we should realize that as we move forward, that we just got to be better. It is very difficult for the average individual to understand that the quickest way to stop any kind of disturbance is to stop discussing it. A lesson for myself. Another lesson for myself. I'm beginning to think that this passage is for me alone, y'all. The thing in your own aura is the only thing that needs attention. The thing recorded in your atmosphere can only come through your feeling. The spoken word, unless there is a sense of condemnation or anger back of it, will not record in harmony on your inner atmosphere. That was deep. I want to read that again. The spoken word, unless there is a sense of condemnation or anger back of it, will not record in harmony on your inner atmosphere. Of the two undesirable conditions, it is far better that one explode and get a thing off his mind than to hold the feeling within of resentment or of being hurt. For that is what registers on your inner atmosphere. From my standpoint, I see what is registering in your feelings and therefore on the inner atmosphere. You know how a carbuncle forms? Well, let me tell you that in your mental world, exactly the same takes place in the physical carbuncle expressed on the physical body. I gotta say something here. You know, I've been holding resentment for certain family members, telling me I'm the biggest problem in their family, and I haven't seen their family in 10 years, and or spoken to anyone in 10 years, and I hold resentment to that. And this is telling me something. I see things in my own house. I'm wanting this and not getting it. I try to reach certain people that are closest to me and don't get it, and I'm feeling resentment. I'm feeling, this negativity. But I'm not thinking that that of my other bodies. This physical body is just one of the four bodies that we have. I'm not thinking how I'm damaging it and putting carbuncles on it, like you see on boats and stuff like that. little black spots or dark brown spots that are in there. And these things often, I'm not saying that any of y'all got, because I know many of y'all are so pure. I've heard y'all talk to me. And this is a thing that we got to bring to our attention. That as we do wrong, and I don't mean wrong like going out stealing and killing and all like that. I mean the thoughts that we have that are negative, and we feel justified in these thoughts because they did something to us, or we resent what they did, and all of us got plenty of people that have done wrong to us. The deal is this: as we keep thinking about them, we're creating and inviting. We're creating these carbuncles, and we're inviting these negative entities to be around us. And the more we give thought to them, it is just like repeating a mantra, like the woman Elizabeth Watt Hughes, who I told you about, the Ediphone machine that shows, the picture of what it is you're evoking when you say the mantra. Well, as we keep thinking these other thoughts too, we're bringing these entities to life also. We're bringing them in our world. And there they act, and they create the havoc that we're experiencing in life. Even though we're doing these mantras, we're doing decrees, we're praying, we're meditating, we even speak some good sometime. But how much of our thoughts are going to our negativities? How much of our thoughts is going to the resentment that we had toward people who clearly did us wrong? I got a brother, one, he was a dope fiend for the most of his life. He was. But all he expressed to us is love. We had criticized him and so forth and so on. But yet my brother, Victor, shows love to all his family and everything. And then I got another brother that I've done so much of him. I've done more for him than his own mother and father. I mean, I trained him since he came out the womb. And initially we had nothing but love. And then something else happened. He brought an entity into the family that wreaked havoc in the family. And it's been resentment toward him, and lack of love. I've even seen him as my enemy, one of the people I love most in the world. And this chapter, it's almost like he's, the guru is trying to tell me, hey, my man, look at yourself. Look at what you're doing. Anyway, it is most important to do something to keep yourself from harboring a feeling against persons, places, things, or conditions, for these build and record on the inner atmosphere. If the desire comes, I wish so-and-so would do this or that, check it immediately and say, there is only God in action there. When a feeling is registered in your atmosphere, it is anchored there until you dissolve or consume it. It is always the feeling that makes the inner record. There is no use consuming a thing if you do not break the habit of generating the cause. One can easily conquer this by saying, I am in command here. Do not let your feelings run rampant. Many times individuals are brought together for the sole purpose of compelling them to correct these subtle activities, which most people pay no attention to whatsoever. And I can definitely say I'm guilty of that. I need to interject here something. There was a time that a birth I had, and my brother was there, and it was in somewhere in the around Bali in the Indonesian area. And in that birth, I was a prince. My father was a king, and I was like the leader of the family. I was the first in command. I'd be the one who would attain the throne. And I had a sister, and her husband disrespected us by disrespecting her, and I killed him. I challenged him to a battle, and I killed him. And I didn't have to kill him, but I was trying to make a point, and my brother resented me from this this killing in this duel that I had. And I'm seeing now that my guru told me about this, and I'm seeing now how that resentment is coming from one life to another. Although we are, there was love. There was that thing that happened. And whatever little thing or big thing I did in this lifetime, it brought that feeling of resentment back to him. That guy was his friend. He liked him. I just didn't want anybody coming in the family doing anything to any of the women that was under our protection. And the resentment he had for that friend of his, who was, in fact, our brother-in-law, he brought forth into this life. And whatever I did in this life to him just raised that resentment back again. I'm only getting this now, or connecting the dots now, because I'm reading this page here. This is a matter of stilling the outer. This is a matter of stilling the outer in order that the truth may be received. This is so vital in the individual's self-correction. As you raise in consciousness, the energy is waiting like an avalanche of expression. And if the energy is not controlled, it will rush in and cause you to do things that you would not have done for the world. Whatever energy is given in your use is to be sent out harmoniously. That is the natural law of your being. If one does not understand that he is to govern the energy flowing through him, and he contacts a discordant element, the energy flowing through becomes qualified by that discord, and he should immediately either check it or requalify it with love. In my experience, if I met a discordant element, I simply say, here, I shut my door, you stay out. I want to say something because I've mentioned this many, many times. You know, the energy that's coming into us is like a tornado of energy. It whirls around literally like a tornado right into our head. And imagine this blue energy that's coming into our head, the energy of God, that we are, right? An unbroken light of energy. If we were to take a light and we flashed it on that energy, or we sustained it on that energy, the energy's color would change too. It won't dismiss it, but it will change as it comes inside of us. We requalified the very light that we are, with anger, with resentment, with everything but what it is, which is love, because it is nothing but love. And it forgives immediately unless we decide we're not going to forgive. We color it with many, many, many different things: criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, lust, lack of forgiveness, all these things. And all these thoughts have colors. So we're coloring that divine light, the light that God is sending right into our head, the light that we are, that's part of the Trinity, with our own thoughts and feelings. But just like beloved Saint Germain said, the feelings, which we are, the feeling aspect of the Trinity, which we are, colors it most especially, because the noetic and the thinking aspect doesn't feel like that, doesn't have this. They're in the love. We, on the other hand, are the God of the feeling, of the Trinity. We're the feeling aspect. And when our thoughts go to these negative thoughts, right, we're recoloring, we're requalifying that energy coming directly into it, and it colors our other fourfold bodies. Man, this seems like it's really getting to me today. The universal energy flows through you is naturally harmonious. You shut your door and then figure out who's the matter. People resist person, place, condition, and things because they have not mastered themselves. The student must maintain this self-governed harmony within themselves long enough to let the momentum be created, which becomes the permanent God. If one will maintain harmony within himself, I tell you, he will draw all good things unto him. The unfailing prompter is that the moment one expresses some kind of discord, he is to realize that he is the one to blame. There needs to be no written thing to warn anyone. The moment there is something discordant, it is the prompter warning you to get busy on yourself. I want to read that again. The moment there is something discordant, it is the prompter wanting you to get busy on yourself. I want to speak on this. You know, I'm thinking that often, and even to the person who's closest to me, that if I just talk about this thing, if I talk about what's disturbing me, and I could just get a harmony to let her feel, I'm trying to express my heart to you. I'm trying to get you to understand, whether it is mother, father, brother, sister, whoever it is that we think, a friend, because our friends are as close to us as our family, oftentimes, right? Whenever we bring up this thing to try to clear the air, we just give it more life. It seems to me now I'm understanding a little bit clearer that I just simply don't have to ask for what I want. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Just keep giving what I want to give. I want to give love. I want to give understanding. I want to give sensitivity to the people that's around me. I want to give those things. But in my mind, I've been thinking, I need to talk and bring it up to get to this forgiveness, or to get for this harmony that I so wish to have. And I don't need to do anything. All I need to do is keep working on my own love all the time, and I will have it. And if we got a mate and we're just wishing our mate to give us certain things, we need to forget about it. Just forget about it. Just keep giving them what we want them to give us, and forget that whether they give it to us or not. Just forget it. By talking about it, I'm realizing, greater than ever at this very moment, it ain't going to get it to you. It hasn't been giving it to you, and it ain't going to give it to you. Those who are married, or those who are in close proximity to people that they love, don't ask them to give you anything. Just give them what you got. The love that you want from them, just give it to them. Forget about what they give to you. The mistakes that they make, or that you see they make, or you feel they make, even though it may not even be a mistake. Understand, what might be happening is the scars that they received in life is preventing them from giving you what you want. It's just simply preventing them from giving you the thing you would give them. And but you want it to be business. My guru said to us, human love is not true love. Human love is business. I'll love you if you love me. I'll give to you if you give to me. I'll do for you if you do for me. And the truth of the matter is, it is not how true love works. Love is a constant. If you love somebody, you always love them. You don't love them if they do this or they do that. You love them because you love them. It is as simple as that. The people that do show you love, the people that do give it back to you, that's your bargaining. That's your business. Business and love. Then you're going to have to ask yourself, do I really love them? If they didn't give me this, would I love them? I have a son. Oh man, this was God's gift to me. I knew it was his gift to me, because I was really hurt when my guru passed, right? So he sent me someone on the very day that he passed. And that person, the moment he was born, he looked directly at me, right? And he showed me love. It's just like, I can't imagine that it's just this birth. Always is like my best child, my favorite child, right? And he is with me. He acts like, man, I'm so glad to have a dad like this, because he got all this high-powered knowledge, and he's teaching me when I'm in the womb, and I've benefited in all these different ways. And it's like it's almost like he's my huckleberry friend, right? Then I have a daughter who I did so much for, and I feel she betrayed me because she was disloyal. She stopped talking to me for reasons I don't even know. Truth be told, I don't care. Then I got this other son. He is wild and crazy, but he got it from me. That's my genes expressing in him. And I can't say I don't love him as much, but I don't feel the same way about him, because, it should not be like that. It should not be like that with my son, who is wild and crazy, but I was wild and crazy. It was in the DNA that I gave him, but there was another aspect with the other son. You know, the daughter, she was the purest thing. So I'm feeling this resentment because, like so many parents have told me, their children stop talking to them and all like this. And the fact of the matter is, this resentment, this criticism of the wild one, you know, all of this is affecting me. And truth be told, it's affecting them too. So we got to really dig ourselves. Here we're doing powerful prayers every day, right? Then we're doing powerful chants every day. We're doing the most powerful chant in the world. We're doing decrees like nobody's business, and we banging them out too. And we're meditating to bring in the love, to bring in the pure feelings. Because when we're meditating, the pure feelings is coming in unless we're re-qualifying with our thoughts. And if we're saying the mantra on the in-breath and out-breath, we're bringing that pure feeling in. But when we look at our children, we look at our friends, we look at our mother, father, brother, and all the things they may have done to us, we're feeling this resentment. We're feeling this criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame. We're feeling all this stuff, and we're re-qualifying, some of us, minute by minute, certainly hour by hour, the negativity on them and ourselves. This chapter seems to be really getting to me. For whatever reason, I haven't been thinking like this before. I know this information, but I haven't been thinking like this before. But I am now. Each individual is his own God and prompter at all times. In other words, I have a thought that it's like it plagues me when I see the guru, and then it just went to all higher beings and all like this. And I don't like this thought. In fact, I got into the decrees because of this thought, protective decrees. And it was just today that I said to myself, anytime I see the guru or any of these divine beings, I say first, only the purity of myself goes to you. And it canceled out these thoughts I don't want to have. Only the purity of myself goes to you. Anyway, each individual is his own God and prompter at all times. There is only one power in the world that can correct anything, and that is the I am presence in each one. If you refuse to recognize that you are the creator of your own disturbance, how can you ever correct it or be free from it? If we don't realize that all the people who've done such horrible things to us, and we know they're horrible, they're so horrible most of the time we don't even want to tell people what they are. If we don't bless them when that thought comes up, we're killing ourselves. It's like self-sabotage. All this hard work we're putting into doing these prayers, decrees, chanting, mantras, and meditating, reading these sacred works and scriptures. Is it to naught? Is it balancing out the thing and we're pretty much staying at the same level instead of keep going higher and higher and higher? I ain't got to wonder about that. I know we're just hurting ourselves. And I'm at the top of that list. There is no person, place, condition, or thing that warrants you ever being disturbed with the ever-present I am presence, beating your heart each moment, and who is ever all-powerful. I'm going to read that again, because oftentimes we blame God for whatever comes in our life. And I'm going to say this many times, and I have said it already. I remember my guru saying, we were in India, and he was sitting on the seat, and someone had asked the question, and he said about God doing this and that to them. He says, God, people always feel when some real tragedy comes into their life that God did this. And he said, God gives us the fruits of our action, and the fruits always corresponds to the action. There is no person, place, condition, or thing that warrants you ever being disturbed with the ever-present I am presence, which is God, beating your heart every moment, and who is ever all-powerful. If one will correct himself on these discordant feelings, he will let the great I am presence flood his world with all perfection. If the individual will not correct himself, how can he ever gain the eternal victory? The I am presence is the all power of the universe to make this correction. Let the I am presence flow until it washes everything clean. When your attention is fixed firmly upon the I am presence, which you are, it is as though your body were a fine sponge through which this pure energy is pouring, cleansing it of all imperfection. If you will stop the discord, the stream of the I am presence automatically cleanses away all impurities. You thus have an unlimited power in your hands to intensify your right commands. I want to read that again. It is so powerful. This is a jewel. If you will stop the discordant, the stream of the I am presence automatically cleanses away all impurities. You thus have an unlimited power in your hands to intensify your right commands. So I want to add something to this too. What we have at our disposal is the most powerful energy in the universe in our hands and to use in the form of thoughts and feelings. We have the most powerful energy in the universe to use in our hands through our thoughts and feelings. Even from the scientific point, knowing that the cells of the body are renewed in less than a year, if the discord could be shut off for 1 year, the mind and form would express eternal youth and perfection. Wow. What? I'm going to read that again. Y'all know how they say, wow, in church and teach us, and they just be shouting out, teach us.
Preach.
Preach. I got to say that again. I got to read that one more time. I know your women should be hearing this. I know your women should be hearing this. Even from the scientific point of view, knowing that the cells of the body are renewed in less than a year, if this cord could be shut off for 1 year, the mind and form would express eternal youth and perfection. Jesus. Either from a sense of false pride or something, humanity will not face the truth that the cause is within themselves. The habit of always blaming other fellows for what has happened to you is the thing that blinds you to the truth and prevents self-correction.
Amazing.
Teach us. A wonderful illustration. That's another jewel, y'all. But we've already collected a treasure chest of jewels from these 3 books so far. And I'm finding this to be the most powerful of all. Anyway, let us continue. A wonderful illustration of this is in the beautiful child form. Until the child is old enough to begin to register the discord about it, its body is beautiful and expresses perfection. The perfection of form would always be maintained if there did not enter into the consciousness of the child the discord of the outer world. There are those who would say to me, what about the child that is born sickly and disturbed? In most cases, that is a condition brought over from the preceding embodiment, or in rare cases where there is intense discord between the parents. This may be intense enough to register upon the child, but if you will notice, in cases of that kind, as the child begins to grow and develop, it will show less and less of that disturbance. This speaks to divine conception, which we're going to be reading the chapter at the end of the discourse today. Think about this, y'all. If you are with your spouse, married or unmarried, I see you, sister, used to say, and you're arguing while that child is in the womb, what do you think that child is getting? It's getting bolts of bedevilment. It's getting arrows of negativity, the exact negativity you're expressing between husband and wife, mom and dad. That's what the child is getting. And as it comes out, It's still in that loving state, but it got that now as the imprint on its consciousness. Arguing, bickering. This is the worst thing that can be done while a woman is pregnant, because it goes directly into the child. The father had better get lost and go somewhere else and call home to make sure everything is good than to bring up the negativity that will generate this type of feelings on the record of that child, because it is most acceptable in the womb and in the early stages of life. This is absolute proof. This is absolute proof the discord was not of its own creation, but was imposed upon it by the parents, because the soul was strong enough to rise out of it. In this particular point, one should understand the amazing conditions of suggestions by which individuals are constantly surrounded. For instance, let us take the environment and the association of the individuals who have been in the habit of going together. He means boyfriend and girlfriend here. In that friendly association, each one is susceptible to suggestions from the other. If it be discordant, then that association will be broken, or sooner or later, by one grand row. However, 75% of the individuals moving about in the world, in the outer world, are not aware that they are taking one suggestion, either from association, environment, or conditions, outpictured before them, in the form of their relationships, in the form of their associations with friends, good or bad. This is what's happening. There's a story I have in another book that I wrote that's soon to be published, with this guy, and they're 13 and they're going out, like he's mentioned here. They're going out together, boyfriend and girlfriend. They're not even having sex, but boyfriend and girlfriend. And so this guy, he goes out with Susie. Bill goes out with Susie, right? And he's being really, really nice. He don't even try to kiss her, right? And he could be 13, 14, 15, along those lines. And he takes her home after their little date. They went to the movies, had ice cream, and, went to the candy store and all that kind of stuff. And when he gets her home, he don't try to kiss her because he wants to be a gentleman. He don't want to try to be too forward, right? So they go home. He didn't want to call her the very next day. This is kind of like a boy thing. And so he wanted to give it a couple of days. So he called her, and she didn't answer, and he called her again. She didn't answer. He kept calling. She just didn't answer. She didn't want to be bothered with him, the really nice guy. Next thing, he saw her with another guy, right? They made no commitment to one another. They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but this is just what happened. So in his mind, he's like, is this how it is? Is this how it is? So as Billy gets older, what he gets from this association with Susie is that you can just be with somebody and leave them like that, and this is okay. When they got older and Billy was a mature man and Susie, grew up, they met together in a club, and they made a connection, right? And so they're in the club going their ways, but they had agreed that he would take her home, right? And at the end of this club they were in, and time to go, but before that, he met another girl, and he liked her more than he liked Susie. She was pretty and all like this, and but he had this scar put on him by Susie, right? So at the end of the party, the club, he takes this other girl home. Now, at this time, Susie is at the door waiting for him. He doesn't even see her. He just leaves with this girl. Susie's not thinking or even realizing that she implanted this association, this thinking, this behavior in his mind. And in his mind, he's thinking, if I leave with her and not with Susie, it's okay. You know, Susie did this thing. He's not even thinking of revenge. He's just thinking, this is the scar that was implanted on him at a time when he was most acceptable. The correct attitude of the student who becomes aware of this I am presence is immediately to take the firm stand that I am invincible, protected against any imperfect suggestion. So all of those things that we have experienced, all those things that have hurt us, that built this ego that we decided was ourselves, that is not ourselves, we have to get rid of them. We have to make a list of them. Take the one that is the easiest to correct and go down the line and start correcting every fault you got in yourself, everything you're aware of. And if you're not aware of it, ask your mate. Ask the person who's closest to you. This ain't going to be easy because you don't want to hear you're not perfect, right? But ask someone that you know, hey, what am I doing that's flooring me? I did this to my brother one time, you know, and this is while I was in India, and I'm thinking I'm holier than thou, right? And he said to me, you cut people off. I said to him, I said, is there something that I'm doing that I'm not realizing that I'm doing, you know, that's really, you know, damaging me? And he said to me straight away, just like that, bang, you cut people off. Somebody do something you don't like, they're done with you. You're done with them. And I never forgot that he told me that. It's something to think about. Thus, one can build about himself an atmosphere which will immediately repel all suggestions that seek to intrude wherein there is a destructive element. I think it necessary to call your attention to your old copybook, which said, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So if we can't root out a negative character within ourselves, just keep on trying. Aaliyah said something like that, right? Pick yourself up and try again. Pick yourself up and try again, right? There's no way to gain victory and dominion over limitations except to keep at it until you accomplish it. If you question your accomplishments, you are postponing your victory that must longer. If you question your accomplishment, you are postponing your victory that much longer. The student who really begins to understand that in the recognition and use of I am presence, they have the universal power at their command. Then they know it is impossible to fail in their applications, because the more they use it, the more of its sustaining power they have. Every time you feel a Christ manifestation, say, I praise thee and accept the light of thy presence, the full I am activity. Take this attitude always, and then you must shut the door to any undesirable creation from those who have passed on. I'm on page 186 for those who don't know. Take this attitude always, and then you shut the door to any undesirable creations from those who have passed on. I want to read that again. Take this attitude always, and then shut the door to any undesirable creation from those who have passed on. Like someone who have hurt you. Could be a parent. Now, could be a mother, father, sister, brother. Always remember that you are the master of what shall come into your thought world. And unless you realize that you are the master, you are susceptible to all kinds of thoughts and feelings. For others, no, I am the presence taking into accomplishment. There's a space there to put in words and thoughts. If you give attention to a condition of disturbance, you are giving power to something else but your I am presence. Benediction. It's a good thing I didn't skip that chapter. My ego was trying to skip this chapter, y'all. Trying to get me to think you read this chapter last week. I'm not kidding y'all. That was the first thought that came. Man, I got a lot out of this chapter. I hope y'all did too. Here is the benediction. The mighty infinite I am presence. We rejoice in a ceaseless outpouring, thy enfolding presence, protecting and governing the life of these beloved students. Help them to enter into the fullness of thy presence with no uncertainty, that they may bless mankind wherever they may be or go. Intensify thy wondrous light within the outer activity, that each one may become a great channel to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to enlighten. JD, my clock says 11:30, but it's 12:30 now, right? We fell back, or is it? My clock is not right, or is it? Is it?
We sprung forward, Bubba.
We sprang forward. So
It's 7:30 here, so it must be 7, 8, 9, 10.
8:30, 9:30, 11:30 there. So we did this.
No, it's 8:30.
It's 8:30 there. So that'd be
8:30
9:30, 10:30, 11:30. So it's 11:30. So this clock is right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're an hour early. I want y'all to ask some questions or make some comments about this chapter, because I tell you, for myself, I man, this was like God saying to me, "Oh, holier than thou, student of mine. You know, you ain't as good as you thought you was, are you?" Anyway, you got a question, Sister Lucretia?
I do. Question, comment, actually. In the story of Susie and Bill, you know, when something happens, she didn't answer. The rest of it is a story he made up.
Perhaps.
You know, we make up things to fill this lack of information that we don't know, that could be painful, right? Based on the ego. So now he made up this story about how she heard him, and he's perpetuating that into the future.
Without a doubt. But I don't think it was all made up by him, because he saw a few days later, and she gave no acknowledgement to him. She didn't even look at him.
Did you see him?
You
know, it's just sometimes we think something is what it's not.
This is true.
I just myself, I try and give, you know, I'm older, so the benefit of experience of life. But even if something looks like something that happened before, it still may not be that. So when we look with love and give people the benefit of the doubt, and don't put something on ourselves that we have to then deal with from an ego standpoint, and just keep moving forward, for me, it keeps us lighter.
Without a doubt. A very good observation. But now check this out. The average guy thinks that when he gets in a relationship with a woman, that he should be the sweetest, nicest, kindest dude. And this thing turns the average woman off. So the guy then realizes, and he does it again, and he sees that he's deflected. And he does it again, and then he goes, I don't think that's what they want. And then what happens is he starts to be, hey, you know, inconsiderate to the woman, kind of mean sometimes, and even, you know, not nice at all. And the woman likes him. Now, I thought about this for a very, very long time. I told this story before, but it is worth telling again. When I came back from India, my guru had passed. We did a year after that. We did a world tour. We was coming off the world tour. We went to India. And then, you know, I was coming back from India to America to make my fortune in New York. And I was in the ashram in New York. And there was a phone booth in the ashram on the bottom floor. And there was this girl who liked me, but she was married. She was breaking up with her husband. She was married. And so she knew that she couldn't form a relationship with me. So she told all the sisters that was in the lobby at that time, she was in there cleaning up, and she told these sisters, there's a guy inside that phone book over there, and he's a nice guy. He's been with Baba all these years, and you know, he never let nobody get next to him. But now, you know, he told me he's open to that, and he's going to be coming out that phone booth in a minute. And there was about a half a dozen girls there, something like that, right? And so when I come out the phone booth, I see all these girls staring at me, and I'm like, what is this? And they're smiling. You know, they're smiling like, yeah, this looks like someone we could deal with. And he's been with Baba, so maybe this is a good catch, right? Type of thing. This is what I'm, and so I'm looking at, you know, really it felt to me like I was, you know, in the butcher shop and I was a piece of meat. And then I look and I saw the sister whose name I won't mention. And I said, what did she tell y'all? Because I knew that that's what was there. She's trying to be inconspicuous. She was sweeping the floor, you know, trying to be inconspicuous. And they saw it, so they were smiling. They said, you know, she told us that you was a good guy, and they did that out the beep, boom, you know, all that stuff that girls tell guys, right? Or tell each other about guys. And I said, oh yeah, y'all are like me. And so they were smiling before I said that. But once I said that, that smile turned to a serious frown, all right? One of them said to me, why would we like you? And I said these very simple words. Because I'm going to treat you bad. That frown turned to a smile that would touch their ears. It was like, we got one. And the girl who told him this said, I told you, I told you. Now me saying to them, I'm going to treat you bad. And then them rejoicing in the thought that we got a guy who will treat us bad. Where does that come from? How do we men learn that? It came from our experience with women. We learn as we get older. Look, in the DNA of a woman, what you're telling them is, you may not protect me. You're so sweet and kind. Somebody come up to us, you may not protect me. Now, what is this protection that's deep in the DNA of women? Women get raped on this planet like nobody's business. I mean, it is such a horror and such a scourge on the planet Earth. It's ooh, right? It's like every man has, if they got a few sisters, have at least one of them raped in their family. Every woman knows the wickedness of this one thing in the world. And they want in their DNA a man that they know is going to protect them. Because I wondered, where's this coming from? This, you got to treat them bad, because they know the bad guy, the bad boy is going to protect them. That they know. The bad boy is angry. The bad boy, he ain't playing. The badder he is, the finest girl will be attracted to him. Let's consider this. This is not the same with guys. The sweeter you are to a guy, the opposite happens, right? The more you take his doo-doo, the more you deal with, you know, his behavior and show him love, the more he loves you. Now let's consider this too. If you are with your girlfriend, if a man is with a guy, right, and they're attacked and the man runs off, it shows that he's a coward. No matter how much that woman used to love him, or maybe even still loves him, she cannot stay with that guy. It's in her DNA. It cannot happen. That relationship is broken. This is any woman, anywhere in the world, whether it's New York City or Borneo, that woman will leave that man. If he shows at any time that he cannot protect her, that he will not protect her, that relationship is broken. It's in her DNA. Now let's change that, let's flip that script. If they are attacked and he's getting beat up by these guys and he's protecting her, he wants her to run away so she don't get beat up or raped too. And he's glad she did. He don't want her to stand there and fight with him and get hurt in the melee. He wants her to get in the win. Maybe she can call help. Now that would be an asset, but even that is not on his mind. What's on his mind is that she is protected. Same scenario, two different feelings. So although, you know, we have that there could be anything going on, this one thing is a constant. It never changes anywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, if you don't protect a woman, you've lost that woman. As much as she will want to love you, she cannot be with you. She may stay loving you. Mostly she won't, but she is not going to continue that relationship. Pretty much, it is that simple. And the reasons I've laid out. And this is going back for millions of years to the point it's in the DNA of a woman and it's in the DNA of a man. So this is how that goes. You see what I mean, Sister Lucretia?
I understand that.
Yeah.
So does that go back to potentially how men are raised and not given proper instruction by their fathers to be both kind and respectful of women, open their doors, don't yell them, don't hit them, and then also, you know, be there to protect them? Why
No.
it seems like it's one way or the other instead of why not both?
No, if the father's not there, their friends are going to tell them, yo, you got to be a gentleman. That don't mean that you're going to be a chump. Be a gentleman. Don't be a chump. Be a gentleman. Don't be a simp.
Yes.
Don't be a sucker. And that, you know, my father taught me all these things because he was around and he had another family.
Wait a second. I gotta come in on this.
All right, come in.
All right. Y'all can hear me all right?
I can hear you. Can
All right, put my
can
headphones
the room
on.
hear him?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, family.
Yes.
The meaning, the European meaning of gentleman. A gentleman is a firearms carrying, a pistol carrying man who owns a slave, at least one slave. This is the authentic origins of the meaning of a gentleman. Gentleman is a nice way of calling a armed slave owner. He's basically being acknowledged as a corporate pimp. So when we, in our colonized perception of English, think gentleman means a man who is gentle, there is a difference. I just read, what was it? I was not reading, I was actually seeing that 60% of the slave owners in South Carolina were Black women before the Civil War. 60% in South Carolina. Now, I'm still investigating this because it's like, wow. So what would you call them? But in Virginia, where you had the Willie Lynch documents shared, when they would refer to themselves as gentlemen, is a nice way of calling them soldiers who owned slaves. So when we speak of, I had an elder tell me when I was a teenager, older woman, she said, don't be a gentleman. Because she used it in the street terms as a nice guy who's a sucker. Taught by misguided parents to run instead of protect. All right? But she said, don't be a gentleman. She said, be a gentle man. But don't be a gentleman. But be a gentle man. I remember this back when I was like 15 years old. This is from a grown woman who's now an ancestor. But the origins, I'd say go check the origins of the word gentleman. Gentleman means that you owned at least one slave, if not 100, and you also carried a pistol. Just wanted to share that, Brother Lalji.
Appreciate it. This makes me think about the language that we're using, this English language, you know, and how we disconnect the word from the actual thing. And you know, oftentimes we call an unruly or disrespectful or a strong woman, right, a bitch. But a bitch is a female dog, and you'll never have a friend more faithful, loyal, and devoted to you than a dog. So when we say that, we're using language incorrectly, truth be told, you know? And so I definitely hear what you're saying. And not only that, in regards to the words that we're using here. I remember when I first went in college, when I was 19, you know, I had a communications professor say, words don't have meaning. People have meaning. So you gotta uh, understand what someone is trying to convey to you. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example of this. I had a friend who was in fact, my roommate in India. He said to me, "You MF," you know, in such a loving way. I couldn't get mad at him. You know, we weren't playing around. He just said, "You MF," and he was said it in such a loving way. I was like, "Well, this is street talk, you know." Street talk saying, you know, and we men, and he don't want to convey something else. So, you know, this is what he said. And so we also got to remember, unless we're speaking legal ease that they trap us with, where they have, you know, like saying, do you understand? Right? Not meaning, do you overstand or you understand? It means, are you giving me authority over you? Right? Technology and words. So like that. What other questions or comments we got on this chapter? Because this chapter was crack-a-lacking. Don't be shy, y'all. So I read it that well, huh?
I have something that I have to find it. Let me see. Page 280. It is very difficult for this average individual to understand that the quickest way to stop any kind of disturbance is to stop discussing it. And it has stopped discussing it in bold. And
Yeah.
So I had an issue with a supervisor, and it seems like I keep thinking about the experience, and what I would do is just try to stop interacting with her, which is probably not even possible on a so-called job. So it says stop discussing it, but in order for me to discuss it, I have to think about it. Right? I have to keep thinking about it. But I can stop discussing it, but to stop thinking about it, it's kind of hard. But it goes on to say, the only thing in your own aura is the thing in your own aura is the only thing that needs attention. So maybe I should just focus on what I'm doing and not her personality or something. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm not discussing it, but I'm thinking about it. So what do? I just say, stop that thought, or we've gone over these kinds of things before with you now.
A couple of weeks ago, you were saying, you know, I was practicing this very thing.
Yeah.
When we had all the static, you were saying, I've been practicing it. It's like, it's been making me feel better, making me feel, you know what it is? It's like, it's the feelings. It's the feelings. We are the feeling aspect of the Trinity. And when somebody, because we built that ego, when somebody bangs up against that feeling, the humility is not there. The humility is just not there. You know, they bang up, I'm supposed to get them. Who you talking to? My mother don't talk to me like that, you know, and all this, you know, all the stuff we be saying, you know, what makes you think you could talk to me like that? You crazy? I'll smack the big, you know, the Jesus out of you. You know, it's like, that's what's happening. We can't let go of our ego. I mean, we built it like a solid steel. You know, we built it like steel, and now we got to melt it down. You know, we got to melt it down. You know, better than melting it down, though, is do alchemy to that steel of the ego. You know, turn it into gold, transform it into gold. You know, and these are the techniques that he's given us here to transform that steel ego, which is not our friend. transform it into gold. Here's the other thing about that ego. I may have told you, I definitely told it on YouTube, but I may have told you the story about Muad'Dib in me, right? Muad'Dib is a bad man. He is scary. I was afraid of him, but Muad'Dib is myself. And he wanted to change. And I had the good fortune that he spoke to me. He spoke to me 2 times. So in my mind, not thinking, but words, you know, and it definitely transformed me. It definitely transformed me. You got to love the worst aspect of yourself. You know, that ego, that Muad'Dib knew I wanted to kill it, knew I wasn't happy with it, knew I wanted to do him in. And he said to me, you know, I had an incident, me and my wife is arguing yet again. And he says to me, why you got to take responsibility for that bee's behavior? And I said to him, Muad'Dib, I thought you wanted to change. And he said to me, and I mean, he started crying. He started crying in my mind. I mean, I swear to God, it was like my youngest son, you know, was crying. I mean, crying. I mean, and crying hard. He was crying so hard. You know, it's like it completely unnerved me. It completely disarmed me. And he said, Lalji, I want to transform, but you don't love me. And I can't transform without your love. Oh, man, it felt like my dear child was saying that to me. That's what it felt like. It wasn't like this was some my inner self that I had built this ego. It felt like my child who loved me through and through was saying this to me. I'm not giving you love. You know, you know, it's like, you don't love me and I can't transform without your love. So all of our negativities that we have built, all our egos that we have built, you know, that exist within inside of us, if we don't learn to love it, it can't transform. So if we don't learn to love that self thing, it cannot transform. So we got to love our negativity as well as our good qualities. It can transform then. And Muad'Dib was a bad, bad man. He frightened every bad man I met. And I used to only hang out with gangsters. And they were afraid of me. There was a crew in New York called the LA crew. They were killers. In fact, their business was called Murder Inc. That's what they did. And I'm sad to say, well, this is the truth. They was afraid of Muad'Dib. And I thought because I knew karate and I'm a bad man, I'm a bad mama jama from Beekman Street, you mess with me, you pound to get beat. You know, I'm thinking like that. But that's not what it was. They saw Muad'Dib and they was afraid of him. And then I became afraid of him. And until we learn to love our own self, it will not change. Until we learn to love our own ego that we built to protect us, we cannot change. It's not easy,
All right.
but
Yeah.
it is like that.
Okay, so what I see is humility that I have to practice, even though there's irritation. I just have to breathe and practice humility by not responding negatively to any situation.
You know, who knows? God may give you the eye to see that person's real self, to see the Trinity that's connected with, to see the God self that it is. And you'll be amazed. You know, have anybody, I've had this experience many times, but have anybody had just hated somebody, right? And that person do one kind thing to them and just totally change them? You change your feeling toward that person? I remember, and this is with men, right? If we fight a guy, if we go into doing blows, especially if it's a good fight, we bond with that person. And if we was to see somebody else starting trouble with that very guy that we had a fight with, we'd be like, yo, y'all can't do this. This ain't happening. That's my man.
Yeah.
We fought.
Yeah.
That's men. Conversely, women who have Negative feelings with other women. Y'all hate each other for life. That's like, y'all.
I don't like you forever.
Forever.
Forever. I will always dislike you. I don't like you. Don't want you in my space. Get out of here forever. I will always
Yeah.
hate you.
Ain't that different?
You
How
always do that, do you, JD?
Oh yes, I do. I remember those you used to tease me in junior high school. I still remember that, and I still dislike them a lot.
now, isn't this different? Look how nature has made us. Men feel a certain way about it. Why is it that when we fight with a brother, we bond? What is that about? What is that about? I don't know, y'all. I haven't figured it out, but I know it is, you know? And this is the way nature planned it. Why? I don't know why, but I know this is what I've seen over and over and over again. Like as if it's a science. Okay, from the gallery. Questions, comments?
I had a comment.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk about love and unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I'm finding out for myself is that when I work on myself and give myself love, that real love, the love of looking at my dark side, the good side, but pretty much my dark side I've been working on, then I'm able to give love unconditionally to other people. And I just wanted to share that and get feedback on that, because that was one of the areas that I really needed to work on, because I was giving my love out to everybody else. But then when they would disappoint me, I would get really angry about that. So I've been working on myself, and I'm finding that when I work on myself, give myself love and work on that inner child in me, that it helps me to give love out freely without any conditions.
You know, like Saint Germain says, it is not always just love that is the correct way to go. He says you have to synergistically mix love, wisdom, and power together. And then your dealings with people will be, you know, they will bring about the results that you want for the benefit of yourself and them. So sometimes, you know, love expresses itself in the virtuous qualities. But even within those virtuous qualities, you need at times to use ruthless compassion. You love them, but you got to come down on them so to benefit their self. You know, even society, you know, this was in Egypt. Of course, it was in Atlantis. A lot of people think that the Egyptians, they knew they was African and so forth and so on. You know, not so. Most of Africa was underwater when Egypt was developing. They related to the Atlanteans, who they were a colony of, and they want to mimic the Atlanteans. Not only that, or the Atlanteans. Not only that, when Atlantis sank, many of them escaped to Egypt. Unlike the Lemurians, who only had the night to escape, they saw the water creeping up on them, you know, on a daily basis, and many of them flew to Egypt in their aerial craft, and that's where they stayed and amalgamated. So, and we being so oppressed here in America, had our history stolen from us and so forth and so on, and lied to us. We connect with Egypt because it was the greatest culture over in Africa. But you would be sad to find out that they weren't thinking about connecting with Africans. They were thinking about connecting with the gods that was in Atlantis. Nonetheless, I think I lost my point on what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful what you're saying, Lalji.
Yeah.
You know, the history has been twisted for the purpose of maintaining psychological rule, because the gods of Atlantis If you want to know what Atlanteans look like, family, take a look at the Olmec heads that's found in Central America.
Yep.
Look at the Olmec heads. Those are the heads of Atlanteans. If you want to know what the Atlanteans looked like, go to pre-dynastic pictures of Kemet. According to Edgar Casey, the Atlanteans, such as the priest class, the priest warrior class, the priest crystal warrior class, knew that Atlantis was going to sink. So they established an outer city, according to Edgar Casey. His name at that time was Rata. Edgar Casey said in his trance, his name was Rata, and he rode with the anti-gravity armada of Atlantean ships to establish an outer Atlantean city that we now call Kemet. This is according to the readings of Edgar Casey.
Right.
And they established this outer city. So this world that we live in now is not only upside down convoluted, but it's, as you said, Lalji, it's the lowest rung on the intelligence of humanity. And this was done genetically to make humans dumber, to make humans more savage. And it's even in the Bible where the gods, not one God, the gods said, we're going to shorten the lifespan of humans. So what kind of gods were these? Let us create man in our image. And let's make sure that there's confusion in the Tower of Babel. And let's shorten his lifespan. What kind of compassionate gods? Or were they just advanced celestial beings who wanted a slave colony with DNA that was part of them? However, they wanted that to be a working class. So we're talking about humanity going back hundreds and perhaps millions of years, not this miseducation of 6,000-year-old history. I just want to share that, brother.
Yeah, that's 100%. Not only that, but they also came to this land. And if you want to know also what the Atlanteans look like, look in the mirror. Okay, look in the mirror. But see, we got to keep in mind, there were marauding extraterrestrials coming here because this planet is filled with gold. And gold is the intergalactic medium of exchange in the whole galaxy. Gold is king, right? And this planet is a gold-rich planet. I got pictures in this room, gold trim, you know, and everybody in the planet damn near has gold rings and ornaments and so forth and so on. There's gold in profusion here, right? So they want the gold-rich planet, to say the least, of the minerals and diamonds and sapphires and rubies and all this other kind of stuff. All this stuff is valued throughout the galaxy. And water. So there are others who want to take hold of this place. And there's been wars going on, galactic wars going on, solar wars going on, you know, to take over Earth. Unfortunately for us at this point in time, which we're in the process of correcting, they have been successful. Because they now, see, they put Atlanteans against Lemurians, right? They put, and once they took them both out, hey, now we can get in here and control the rest of humans and use them for our purposes. When in fact, we'll use them to do things for us that they don't even know they're doing, right? Like this. There's this story in Germany with this guy. He worked in a German factory, and he was told that the factory that he worked in built bikes, you know, bicycles to ride around for kids. So what he was a foreman now, and what he wanted to do was build a bike for his son. So over a period of time, he would go to each department to get a part that they were building to build this bike. Now everybody thinks they're building a bike. So he gets all of the parts, you know, and like a week before Christmas, he decides he's going to take all these parts from all of the different departments in this factory in Germany and put it together. And when he finished putting together all the parts, he saw he had a bomb, a nuclear bomb at that. And another part of the history that is not given to us, Germany dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Russia. So all of the things that we've been told in history is such a lie. It's incredible. Another thing I found out about historians, historians have the highest clearance of all the operatives. It is the historians. They know where treasures are. They know the history of this, that, and the other. They know where the artifacts are, like this TV series that, what was it called? Warehouse 13. So there was a similar place like that in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they would find artifacts that had magical powers like technology, right? And they put them all in this warehouse, you know? So the historians know about all this. That's why they have the highest clearance above mathematicians, above physicists, above everybody. That blew my mind. The historians have the highest clearance in the secret space program. Mind-blowing, mind-blowing. It was the historians that knew of the history of the asteroid belt. So they were able to tell the people in the secret space program, look, there's gold, there's minerals, there's platinum, there's silver, there's jewels, there's technology in the photon belt. I mean, not the photon belt, the astro, all the rocks, the asteroid belt. And then when we get our technology to the point, we can go mine all that, all those rocks with all the gold and technology and so forth and so on. They're still there. You know, the solar history is some great history. You know, if you can find out about that or you learn about that, boom, 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 you know, and the real ancient Egyptian history. I don't like to tell much about it. That history, a part of it is sworn to secrecy, but people trying to study the chematology and so forth and so on, they are on such a misguided path. It's I don't know, it's sad. You know, it's just sad. Nonetheless, let them go about what they're going about, and hopefully they'll find the truth as they go about what they're doing. Any questions? We got until 12:30. Any comments? We got into 12:30.
Yeah, could you pull that big crystal up that you have and let everyone experience you slowly chanting I am affirmations into the crystal like a mic, and let everyone experience that. While you chanting, Lalji, spend some time chanting while you holding the crystal like a microphone and do a chant.
Bust it. I am the conquering presence of this I am presence, and I command this I am presence govern perfectly my mind, home, affairs, and worlds. I am the quickening of the cells in this my brain structure, causing it to expand and receive the intelligent direction of the mighty and present, giving me total recall of mind, godlike mental abilities, and absolute physical perfection. I am the resurrection and life of my overwhelming boundless supply of every good thing, including riches and money, right now and forever. I am the abundant, perfect power of God, manifesting as a perfect city master, accomplishing my decrees, dreams, and goals. This is a master crystal, y'all. This crystal spoke to me. That's why I have it. And the person who was selling crystal said, if you don't got the money for this crystal, you got to take it with you, because nobody else should have it but you. And send me the money when you get it. That was a divine place. It was in Mount Shasta that I got this crystal. And the deep thing about it is the guy came from Brazil with a truckload of crystals. And he said, I was told to bring these crystals here to you. And whatever price that was on it, we work it out later. But my work was to bring you these crystals. And he brought them from Brazil, and very interesting, very interesting. When I, since Uncle Hank told us that if we hold our crystal, that is multiplied 600 times more. I've been holding my crystal and doing my decrees with the crystal and even the Guru Gita, I put the Guru on my lap and hold it like that, Uncle Hank.
Yo, bro, they say that you sounded different while you was holding the crystal.
Really?
W. Louise said it was the tone of the voice change to me, or for
Ain't
me.
that something?
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
I'm wondering what it would be like. And being that we have in our bodies, we are living crystals. In Qigong, it's taught that the connective tissue, known as the fascia, is a form of crystal, quartz. So the fascia is like the saran wrap that goes around the muscles. And this is what you literally, by breathing deep, you inhale and collect voltage around the muscle by the saran wrap like material called the fascia. So in doing Qigong, you literally, with intention, packing the fascia or the crystal energy around your muscles. So those of us who are over the age of 25, we bounce instead of break like a tire full of air, because there's so much voltage and current in the earth and in the heavens. Some of the questions are saying studying Kemet history. Studying it is good, but you can also search your soul to see what is truth and what is not truth, because we are literally galactic beings with countless lifetimes, and in our ordinary state of mind we have amnesia to our many characters of incarnation. So the fascia is important for the charging of our inner crystal. And as Lalji holds the crystal in his hand, this is also true with acacia wood. It's also true with ayahuasca vine. I'm finding it difficult to find ayahuasca vine like I did years ago because of the over harvesting. So I'm going to share with you in a moment. I'll just grab my it's almost like almost a foot long. It's more like 10 inches of an ayahuasca vine that I made into a necklace. But you are Kemet, and the acacia, if you look at the Akashic records, acacia tree is the Akashic records, but it's in the form of a tree. So you are the record of Kemet. It's known now that Wallace Bulge, he didn't understand Egyptology. He had what would you say, a snippet, and the rest he made up for the purpose of cashing in on the book. So
I like to veggie back on that. He was commissioned to give false information about Kemet. He was commissioned to do that. How about that? Because clearly he was in secret society. He was with the Masons, and also not only Budge but Garner. We got to realize, if we know the true history, we are different. Our thinking becomes different. Our aims become different. If we look at, and this is something I wanted to mention to the audience of everyone who is listening. We're opening up this venue to the prayers on Tuesday and the Allied Sacred Coaching. Allied Sacred Coaching, among other things, we're going to have a study group of universal, uniform commercial codes. Will bring you a great deal of money. I don't want to talk about it too much, but we're looking for 16 people to join. Now, this is not going to be free. It's going to be $250 a month. But when you see what you get, you're going to think it's free. So within a few months, you should have a great deal of money if you do what you're supposed to do. Because we're going to work on a W-4 the first thing, but there's going to be many books that you're going to read. It's going to be $250 a month, but there's more to it than just that. And we're looking for 16 people to join. And you can go to an email that I just put together and put on there, I want to join this group. But it's more than just that. It's the 4 legs of life, right? Your spiritual life, which you get free. Your financial life, which is part of the UCC. Your physical life, which is your workout and your diet. And then your life with family and friends, to harmonize, to develop character, all of this. And there's other things. There's many other things in this allied sacred coaching. We're looking for 16 people to go to that email and say, I want to be a part of it. It's $250 a month, but within 6 months' time, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you'll probably be a millionaire. To say the least of all the other things you will get. I don't want to talk about it just too much, but it's aligned sacred coaching. Pull it on the in the chat. All right. ALIGNED sacred SACRED coaching. COACHING, right? At AOL.com. Those who are interested in working as a group of power. Once I see 16 people have joined or say they want to join on in that email, just leave, because there's nothing else in that email but that. Because that's going to be an email just for the group. And we're looking for 16 people to join this. Well, I might as well tell you. You'll have your national ID. You'll have your national passport, which is different than other passports. You'll have your sovereignty. You won't be a sovereign citizen because that's an oxymoron. You'll be a sovereign. You will correct your birth certificate. You'll get a fee schedule. All of these things we'll be studying together because I'm not an expert in this. I tried to do this free before, but it didn't work. You know, things that are given free are generally not respected. But once we get 16 people to want to join this class, we'll start moving in the direction of this. Now, I want to say this to y'all so y'all understand. I and myself are paying thousands of dollars to get this information. And the $250 is really nothing. I'm not just doing just the ayahuasca. There's the quality of the Padmani. We are teaching that, right? So that the women, instead of being the whores of Babylon, they become the Padmani, right? And we are teaching the prince for the men, those qualities that are godlike, that are princely, that develop you into a leader. That's what's in this aligned sacred coaching, right? And so because you have support, you know, like you got support in this, so you come and you do it. We're doing it in the morning. So because you know that you got support of someone being here to do it with you, you do it. Same thing with the workout. We're going to do the workout and the diet. There'll be things that we're doing. It's like seminars, right? We'll be doing the medicines. We'll be doing certain characteristics that we want to get rid of. We'll be doing many different things in this class, but because you have the support, you'll incline to do it. Like having a coach, right? If you got a coach that you got to meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you paid them to meet them, you're going to meet him. And if you don't come, he's going to get in your behind telling you got to come, or he's going to cut you off, right? Or put somebody else in your slot. And so these are the things. Now, why are we doing this? Because if we don't create the prince, if we don't create the Padmani, they won't be created. We'll be around here stumbling like blind people, not realizing how we got to play this game. You know, I've mentioned this a number of times, but if y'all can, watch the movie, The Lords of War with Nicolas Cage. At the end of that movie, he was telling the guy that was berating him and telling him he's gonna need KY and all this kind of stuff. And he tells him, he says, let me tell you what's really gonna happen. And he told him, in a few minutes, you're gonna hear a knock on that door, and it's gonna be your superior. But what you need to look at is he got a briefcase in his hand, and that briefcase is filled with money for me, because every time I get arrested, I expect to get paid. Now, why did he say that to the guy? Nonetheless, in a few minutes, there was a knock on that door, and it blew that guy's mind. And his superior was out there with a briefcase in his hand, filled with money to give to Nicolas Cage. Now, why was that briefcase there? Why was he there with the money? Because Nicolas Cage had a fee schedule. This is one of the things that you learn in this aligned sacred coaching. Not only that, you'll learn how to become your own private banker. And what does that mean? That means you write up your promissory note, you take it to Chase Manhattan, or you take it to Chase Bank, and they got to honor it. And they'll give you the credits from your own account of whatever you wrote that thing for. Let's say you wrote a promissory note for $750,000 because you want to build a house for, or $1 million, because you want to build a house that's going to cost about $800,000 to build, right? And that means you're living in a very big mansion, right? That's like 20,000 or between 15 to 20,000 square feet house, right? And you want $1 million, so it's going $800,000 for that. And the other thing you want is a buy a Bentley or Rolls or whatever it is that you want. That money you write up once you get all your paperwork in order. And there is so many things, it's ridiculous. And all your bills, according to House Joint Resolution 192, are supposed to be paid. And this is law for you. That means your phone bill, your electric bill, your mortgage, every bill you have is supposed to be paid. But this they want to keep secret. And we will keep it secret. We're not going in the public and talking about all this stuff. I'm just telling y'all, once we got 16 people that go to that email address, right, and is ready to pay $250 a month, as a group, we will be learning and walking through this. I got many tapes and books and all kind of stuff for all of us to study it and change our life. You talking? Are you saying something?
You can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
There's a few people that were asking, where can we access the real chemitology? All right. You have to study beyond Kemet, Dawood. You have to study beyond Egypt, because what you have to realize, Sylvia and Dawood and everyone who's interested in the ancient golden age, is that it's most likely, if you are alive in this world now, you either intentionally came to assist the upliftment of humanity, regardless of your spacesuit color, or you karmically owe the upliftment of humanity because in your previous incarnations you was instrumental in assisting in the fall of humanity. So in studying chemitology or studying about Kemet, you have to study the world, because you find pyramids are everywhere.
All over the planet.
Pyramids are all over the planet, above and below water. And these were the power plants for wireless electricity and accessing communication. So you can't be in the one part of the world, because in that golden age, and this happened while I remember doing an ayahuasca session, and it blew my mind, because everything in the physical realm at that particular time of the golden age, everyone who was godlike were carbon, magnetic, black. Talking about Krishna was black, Buddha was black. Atlanteans, black. Lemurians, black. The Aborigines of Australia, black. Everybody's carbon based. So if you're going to look at and try to study, you can't do chematology. You got to do world history, because we are carbon-based life forms. We are everywhere. And the more you meditate, whether you want to do the slow walk of 30 years or you want to do the ayahuasca express train, you're going to find out who you was in your past lives. And some of them are not good at all. At all. And I mean, I was doing Bufo until they told me you had enough. But in those Bufo rides, they showed me that I was worse than Darth Vader in past characters. So we are like theater, we are full of characters, and all of those characters are locked inside of us. So we have to go into that dark side of us. We have to go into understanding you are here because you owe, or you decided to come to assist. I owe, so back to earth I go, because karma is gravity of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Karma is gravity of the soul. And one of the best things that the universe provides for us is amnesia to what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you would be without hope. You would have, you'd say, oh, my actions in multiple lifetimes, I might feel hopeless. But amnesia to who you was is sometimes a blessing. But if you're on this planet right now, it's because you are here to elevate, or karmically here so that you can make amends to your misdirected energy. And that's why I appreciate doing entheogens under the guidance of ascended masters, because we live like that movie Inception. We get caught up into dreams, inside of dreams with amnesia. So yes, looking at Kemet like the glory and seeing the beauty, that's awesome. But beyond that, the whole planet is Kemet. I just want to share that, Lalji.
In truth.
12:25. So I'm gonna bring it to you. And I want to thank everyone for being in the audience, and thank you for this beautiful message, because I'm still discombobulated with this time play. I'm not even, usually this time of day, I'm just waking up. So I'm going to pull back, and Lalji, you take front and center. And I want to thank you, family. You got to look global.
I want to ask you two things.
Think global, act local. Think global, act local.
There's another aspect of this study group, this allied sacred coaching. If there's enough people who truly want to learn about Egyptology, I'm not going to break my vow of these secrets, but I can easily lead you through the books that I know that you will study and get a real clear picture of what's jumping off here. Because even in Egyptian and of course Atlantean, but even Roman times, they had picture of the round earth. Now, how could they know that the earth was round unless they saw it from outside of the earth? There's no way you can. You'd be thinking it's flat or some other kind of thing. There's no other way that you can see that the earth was a round globe or sphere unless you can see it from the moon. But here's what's also going to be in that class. Or I will throw this into this allied sacred coaching. Books that have been out of print for the longest time. A number of them I have. And if you want to get involved with the allied sacred coaching, we could even start a study group within that, along with the study group of the UCC. And it will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. In the very same way that we here in America captured and defeated by the sinister forces. And y'all got to realize, it wasn't the Europeans that made this happen. It was extraterrestrials giving them aid that allowed this to happen. All right. And these were satanic forces, and that's the half. Okay, that's the half. All right. The other aspect was it slipped my mind just that quick. In the same way that we, because they stole and corrupted our history, was looking to the Egyptians as our forefathers, right? The Egyptians were looking to the Latinians and the Lemurians as their forefathers, right? They wasn't looking to the Africans, Africa that was just coming up out of the water, because Egypt itself was inundated. If you know the history of Egypt, or a little bit, Egypt itself was inundated with water. The Sphinx and everything around it was inundated. And they used the technology to bring the land from up under the water. Same thing with the rest of Africa. Swampland or totally underwater. So if there is I said, if there is at least 16 people ready to get down with the get down and not play around, not come and go, and not deal with this like it's a game, but deal with it like it is a sacredness, that you're really going to be God conscious, that your plan, that your actions, that what you're trying to do is become ascended and God conscious. That's what it is. It's not coming in today, or I'm gonna miss Monday and I'll come back Friday. That kind of stuff. That you're telling your God, your own God self, that you're full of crap. All right, you got to be wanting to get down with the get down. You got to be wanting to do this like your life depends on it, because it does. So this is some other sacred knowledge that that we will be dealing with. Budge and Garner, although they're cute, they're not telling you the truth. Even Gerald Massey is the least truthful, but he don't have the whole truth. But you're going to need to study those things to be able to get to the other deeper parts, or else you won't understand just being thrown into. It's like a person that can't swim. You just throw them in the ocean. More than likely they'll die. They might get out and they might not. It's the same like that with knowledge. You don't go into school learning algebra first. You learn arithmetic first. And it's like this with Egyptology and the Atenian knowledge and Lemurian knowledge. These things they have. Most of it is in the Vatican and in other libraries, like the library in DC. Some are in this library, this library in New York City. They have certain libraries that they'll give you a smidget, but the library in DC, the library in the Vatican, they have all this history and knowledge. So if there's enough people in the Allied Sacred Coaching, at AOL.com, and all you do is put your name in there. Just go in there, put your name. I want to be part of the Allied Sacred Coaching, and that's the website. That's the name of it. Aligned Sacred Coaching at AOL.com. And once I get to 16 people, we're going to start with the UCC. We'll start, and if there's that cadre of people who are serious researchologists, they can be a part of this. We'll form a study group with that. And it's going to blow your mind. The UCC alone is going to raise you to the status of a millionaire, and in short time, because you are already a multimillionaire with probably billions of dollars in your account under your name and your serial number. So it's up to y'all. And I want to say this. I started this class before for free, but I saw that it was being taken advantage of because they just wasn't doing the work. So I was like, the time I'm wasting with y'all, I could be studying this on my own. So I eliminated the class. So I'm coming back with this, adding more to it for $250. Now, being it's time to wrap up, I want to. We've been reading one chapter a day of my book, and so far the feedback that I've been getting is that it is high powered. So we're going to go to that on the Zoom, and those who want to be part of the Zoom, you can log into I Am the Magic Presence on the what do you call it? The Jadine, what is it that we got there with Hank? The WhatsApp. I Am the Magic Presence. WhatsApp has the link that you can hear the book. And this is a short chapter. It's only 7 pages. So I'm going to read maybe 12 pages of it, 7 pages of the book, this next chapter, and 5 pages of the chapter afterwards. And tomorrow we'll be continuing with this. So I'd like to say to everybody, I'd like to end this by saying the chant that my guru would always have us say throughout the day. Nityanandaya Gurave Shisha Samsara Harine Bhaktakaye Dehaya Namaste Chitsadatmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nish Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejas Vinavadi Tamastu Ma Vivishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May we, Guru and disciple, be protected together. May we enjoy the fruits of our actions together. May we achieve strength together. May our knowledge be full of light. May we never have enmity toward one another. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Once again, God bless you. God bless your family, your friends, your dreams and goals. Those who want to hear